onto X, which is, its own set of issues and difficulties. You come in, and for many of us, it was like you're coming in to save free speech.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, really a signal moment because it is very clear that there is a censorious hand that's been placed on all of these tech companies.
Unequivocally.
And you came in and you said, we're going to open this place up, and you definitely did.
Yes.
And the blowback has been absolutely wild. I mean, really tremendous, and pretty clearly coincident with the amount of mainstream media hatred of you. You went from being, Golden Boy, Time Magazine, Newsweek. We all love you. Everyone loves Elon. SNL, right? Like everyone. Now, if SNL had you on, there might be a riot in the street because apparently, by opening up free speech, you've. I
think there's like a small section of the sort of elite media that hate me. But if I walk down the street, people are real super friendly. So I think the average citizen is a fan, or certainly doesn't hate me. I am the most followed account, the most interactive account in social media by far. I think technically there's people on Instagram with more followers, but in terms of interactions, I'm the most interacted with social media account on earth. I think I recently passed 169 million followers. So can 169 million people be wrong?
I know we'll find out in the next election cycle. But when you feel that, do you think that was a reaction to the fact that you were basically saying the thing you're not supposed to say, which is that the sources of information that people are receiving are in fact siphoned off and censored?
Yeah, exactly. It was actually amazing to me how much the legacy media walks in lockstep. There's like nobody breaks ranks. And now we have X that breaks ranks and doesn't just go with whatever the approved narrative is. I think for many in the public, they don't quite realize just how much deception is really going on with the media. The biggest deception is the choice of narrative, because the media can say they can write a story about this or write a story about that, and only a few stories can go on the front page. So you're deciding essentially what people should pay attention to. So instead of it being something that what people pay attention to being what people actually care about, it's actually what a handful of editors care about. They're telling the people what to pay attention to. So that the deception by choice of narrative is a big thing. So that's why I really want the narratives to bubble up organically from the people in the case of the X system, which they do. People should be allowed to say things that are within the law. That's if the law isn't good enough, then great, we'll talk to your elected representative and have them pass law to change that. But otherwise, we need to stick to, hold true to the Constitution and the laws and allow people to say things, even if we don't like what they say. In fact, that's obviously the true test for free speech, is that someone says something you don't like, because otherwise it's obviously not free speech.
If you're struggling with collections, medical bills, credit cards, personal loans, you need to check out PDS Debt. PDS Debt is an innovative one-stop shop to guide you on your journey to freedom from debt. There is no one-size-fits-all solution to becoming debt-free. That's why PDS Debt offers multiple programs and solutions tailored to your specific needs, budget, and financial goals. Whether you're going through a serious hardship or you just can't seem to keep up with the high interest on your credit cards, PDS Debt will craft a custom solution to give you instant relief and start saving you money today. If you're making payments every month on your debt, but the balances aren't going down, this program is for you. PDS Debt provides options that consolidate your debts into one low monthly payment. Anyone with 10 grand or more in eligible debt qualifies. There's no minimum credit score required. They want to help out anyone with good and bad credit. Plus, with PDS Debt, you will save thousands in interest and fees, pay off that debt in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt is offering my listeners a free debt analysis. It takes 30 seconds. Head on over to pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Get your free debt assessment today. That's pdsdebt.com/Shapiro today. What do you think is the biggest ignored
People trash me all the
narrative?
time on the X platform. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
Just trash me on the X platform, not somewhere else.
So what do you think is the biggest untold narrative, the thing that the media have been missing for years and years, or suppressing for years and years?
Well, there's a few things, but I've generally tried to say to increase what the so-called Overton window of what can be discussed and what is it okay to discuss without being ostracized. Certainly, attacking DEI would have been ostracized before, not anymore. Anything that's sort of sensitive or that the media ignores, the public can then raise it on the X platform and make that an actual topic of discussion. So, you probably can think of a few reasons. Or a few
obviously one of the big ones when you were first buying X was the unwillingness to say that men exist and women exist as actual biological categories.
Oh yeah.
And that one came up a lot.
You'd get suspended for that.
Oh yeah. And
you couldn't even debate the subject without getting suspended.
Right, and that was a huge one. There were a bunch of no-nos that you just weren't allowed to do, and I think that a lot of people are grateful for the broadening of the Overton window. That does, as a person who's trying to do good in the world, one of the things that I've always said about about people who are in charge of these tech platforms is that it's very difficult to be that job, because there is obviously something that's outside the Overton window where you say, it's my platform, I just don't want this on the platform. How do you decide that? To a certain extent, it is a coddy under a tree, basically saying, I just this is too much for me, I know it when I see it, kind of definition. But
we're trying to be as objective as possible. Is something breaking the law, or most likely breaking the law? We don't need a judge to say it for sure, but is what is being said seem to be illegal? Like someone saying they're going to murder somebody. I think threats of murder are illegal, for sure. So that would result in a suspension. And then there's a separate thing, which is is something either sort of potentially pornographic or not safe for advertisers, meaning the topic is too contentious to expect that advertisers will advertise, with that account. If you take Dom DeLuca as an example recently, where he says some pretty edgy stuff, and that's okay, but just as he has the right to say edgy stuff, some of it which is untrue, and he gets community noted all the time. But advertisers also have the right to not advertise on Dom DeLuca's posts. So it's his freedom to say what we want, but he doesn't have, he can't coerce advertisers to advertise.